Over 60? 4 cheeses you should never touch, and 4 you must eat daily. What if I told you that after the age of 60, just one wrong slice of cheese could raise your risk of stroke by as much as 80%? Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? The truth is, more than 85% of older adults still enjoy cheese at least twice a week. Yet almost everyone makes one critical mistake at the cheese counter. A mistake that can quietly cut years off their life and put their heart and brain at risk. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. In today's video, I'll walk you through the 4 golden cheeses you should enjoy daily for stronger bones, a healthier heart, and better digestion, and the 4 dangerous cheeses you'll want to avoid if you value your long-term health. And to make this even more practical, I'll be sharing real stories from my years of treating thousands of senior patients here in the United States. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support gives us the motivation to keep creating more helpful videos like this. Why cheese can be a double-edged sword after 60. Cheese has always been a comfort food we love. It's tasty, nourishing, and full of protein, calcium, vitamins, and even good bacteria for the gut. For younger people, it's often a health boost. But after 60, our bodies don't handle cheese the same way, and what once felt harmless can quietly become risky. As digestion slows, many of us make less lactase, so cheese that used to sit fine may now cause bloating or discomfort. The gut also grows more sensitive, making preservatives or molds in processed cheeses more irritating. On top of that, the body processes fat less efficiently. Cheese is naturally rich in saturated fat, and with age, those fats build up more easily in the blood, raising cholesterol and blood pressure. I once had a patient in his 60s who loved processed cheese slices every morning. Years later, his arteries were over 60% blocked. Sodium is another hidden danger. Just 2 slices of processed cheese can deliver nearly a third of the day's recommended salt, straining older kidneys and pushing blood pressure higher. Cheese can even affect sleep. Blue cheese, for example, is high in tyramine and histamine, which can trigger restlessness, headaches, or even vivid dreams. And here's a surprise. Some people eat cheese for bone health, but end up with joint pain instead. Certain processed varieties upset the calcium-phosphorus balance, making absorption harder and fueling inflammation. Yet when patients switch to natural cheeses rich in vitamin K2, their bones and joints often improve within months. So yes, cheese is truly a double-edged sword, offering comfort and nutrition, but also potential harm if the wrong kind is chosen. The bright side? Not all cheese is bad news. Some varieties act like medicine, protecting the heart, bones, and even helping sleep. Let's take a closer look at the 4 golden cheeses everyone over 60 should know about. Number 4. Aged Gouda is one of those cheeses that often surprises people. On the surface, it looks like just another tasty dairy product, but when it has been aged properly, usually for 18 months or more, it turns into something far more powerful. One of its biggest gifts is vitamin K2, a nutrient that doesn't get much attention but is crucial for aging bodies. Think of K2 as a traffic officer for calcium. Without enough of it, calcium tends to drift into the arteries, where it stiffens blood vessels and sets the stage for heart attacks or strokes. With enough K2, that calcium is rerouted to the bones and teeth, where it belongs, helping to strengthen the skeleton and reduce the risk of fractures. Another reason aged Gouda works so well for older adults is that it's naturally low in lactose. As we age, our ability to digest lactose often declines, which is why so many people experience bloating, cramps, or discomfort after eating dairy. But in aged Gouda, much of the lactose is broken down during the long curing process, making it gentler on the digestive system and far more tolerable even for those who normally avoid cheese. From my own experience with patients, I've seen remarkable changes, I recall one woman in her early 70s with osteoporosis who added small portions of aged Gouda to her diet a few times a week. Over the course of a year, her bone density scans showed meaningful improvement, and she reported feeling steadier and less worried about falls. For her, Gouda wasn't just a flavorful addition to meals, it became part of her therapy for bone health. Beyond bones and arteries, aged Gouda also carries a rich, nutty flavor that makes it enjoyable to eat, which matters more than people think. Healthy food that feels like a chore is rarely sustainable, but when something both nourishes and delights, it easily becomes a long-term habit. Paired with apple slices or whole-grain crackers, it not only tastes indulgent, but also works in harmony with the body, supporting digestion, heart health, and skeletal strength all at once. Number 3. Parmigiano Reggiano, often called the king of cheeses, is far more than a flavorful topping for pasta. When it's crafted in the traditional Italian way and aged for over 2 years, it transforms into a nutritional powerhouse that the aging body can actually use with ease. Its protein is exceptionally easy to digest because the long aging process breaks those proteins down into smaller fragments, almost pre-digested, which means even people with sensitive stomachs can absorb the nutrients without discomfort. This is very different from many other dairy products, where the proteins remain more complex and harder for an older digestive system to handle. Equally impressive is its calcium content. Just a small ounce of Parmigiano Reggiano can deliver more calcium than a glass of milk. And here's the key. The calcium is packaged with the right ratio of phosphorus and magnesium. This makes it nearly 100% bioavailable, meaning your body can actually use it, unlike many calcium supplements where only a fraction gets absorbed. I've often told patients that a daily sprinkle of true Parmesan on their meals can sometimes do more for their bones than a tablet of calcium carbonate, which not only absorbs poorly, but also tends to cause constipation, a problem many seniors already struggle with. There's also a fascinating bonus in Parmigiano: natural compounds called casomorphins. These peptides interact gently with the nervous system, creating a calming effect that can help with relaxation and sleep. It's no wonder some people find that ending dinner with a few small chunks of Parmesan leaves them feeling both satisfied and ready for a restful night. From a medical standpoint, this is especially valuable for older adults who often battle insomnia or anxiety. In my own practice, I've seen seniors who had difficulty tolerating calcium pills switch to Parmigiano Reggiano and experience better bone density over time, along with fewer digestive issues. One gentleman even joked with me that Parmesan was his bone medicine in disguise, since he looked forward to eating it rather than forcing down a supplement. That joy in food matters. When a nutrient comes wrapped in flavor, it becomes a habit that's easy to keep. Number 2. Grass-fed raw cheddar is one of the most remarkable cheeses for anyone over 60, provided it's made the right way. When cheddar comes from cows raised on pasture and the milk is left unpasteurized before aging, the result is a food that's both rich in flavor and dense with nutrients that support aging bodies. Because the cows graze on grass instead of being fed grain, their milk contains significantly higher levels of CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, and omega-3 fatty acids. Both of these compounds are powerful anti-inflammatory agents, helping to reduce swelling in joints, support cardiovascular health, and even regulate immune responses. For seniors dealing with arthritis or other inflammatory conditions, this natural boost can make a noticeable difference. On top of that, grass-fed raw cheddar is an excellent source of fat-soluble vitamins. It provides vitamin A in its most usable form, essential for eye health and immunity. Vitamin D, which is often lacking in older adults and is critical for calcium absorption and bone strength. And vitamin K2, a rare but vital nutrient that keeps calcium moving into bones instead of hardening the arteries. This trio of nutrients works hand in hand, and the synergy is especially important as we age and face the dual challenges of bone loss and cardiovascular disease. What truly sets raw cheddar apart, though, is its probiotic richness. Unlike pasteurized cheese, which loses most of its beneficial bacteria, raw cheddar retains dozens of living strains that actively support gut health. These probiotics help balance digestion, improve nutrient absorption, and communicate with the immune system through the gut-brain axis. They even produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which feed the cells lining the colon and help reduce inflammation throughout the body. Many of my older patients who struggled with irregular digestion or bloating found steady relief after incorporating small servings of raw cheddar into their meals. In my clinical experience, I've also noticed another benefit. Seniors with autoimmune problems or chronic joint inflammation often report feeling better when they swap out processed dairy products for grass-fed raw cheddar. One woman in her late 60s with rheumatoid arthritis told me that after a few months of this switch, she not only had less stiffness in the morning but also felt more energetic throughout the day. For her, this simple change became a natural complement to her treatment plan. Number 1. Swiss Gruyere may look like just another nutty, smooth cheese, but for anyone over 60, it's much more than that. One of its biggest strengths is its richness in glutathione precursors. Glutathione is often called the body's master antioxidant because it helps protect cells, supports the liver in clearing toxins, and slows down age-related decline. The problem is, our natural supply drops as we grow older. Gruyere helps refill the tank by giving the body what it needs to keep this system strong. It also shines for its easy-to-digest protein. Because Gruyere is aged for many months, its proteins are naturally broken down into smaller chains, so the body can absorb them with little effort. For older adults, this is a huge plus. Instead of struggling with heavy proteins, you get muscle-building nutrients that go to work right away. Research in Switzerland has even shown that seniors who eat Gruyere regularly are better at maintaining muscle mass than those who rely mainly on meat. I've seen it myself. A patient in his 70s began swapping some of his red meat for Gruyere. Within months, he told me he felt lighter and stronger. His endurance improved, and he could climb stairs without getting so winded. It was a small change, but the impact on his daily life was big. On top of that, Gruyere offers minerals like phosphorus, zinc, and selenium, which support bone strength, immunity, and thyroid health. When you add in its antioxidant power and highly absorbable protein, it's easy to see why Gruyere is more than just food. It's a smart ally for aging well. For people over 60 who want steady strength and energy, it truly deserves its place at the top. But not every cheese is a friend. Some popular varieties bring excess salt, preservatives, and inflammatory fats that slowly wear the body down. So now let's flip the page and look at the other side. The 4 cheeses you'll want to avoid if you're serious about protecting your health. Number 4. Processed cheese slices may seem harmless in their tidy wrappers, but they're far from real cheese. In fact, less than half of what you're eating is actual cheese. The rest is emulsifiers, preservatives, and chemical additives designed to make it smooth and melt easily. One of the biggest concerns is the phosphate salts. While they improve texture, too much phosphate puts stress on the kidneys and can speed up blood vessel aging, a serious risk for older adults with already weakened kidney function. These slices are also loaded with sodium, over 600 milligrams in just 2 pieces, nearly a third of the daily limit. For anyone with high blood pressure or heart disease, this is a recipe for trouble. And unlike regular salt, the sodium compounds in processed cheese are even harder on the body. Then there are the emulsifiers and additives, like polysorbate or cellulose, that keep the cheese uniform. Studies suggest they disrupt gut bacteria and contribute to leaky gut, triggering low-level inflammation linked to joint pain, memory issues, and weakened immunity. Processed cheese also hides trans fats, even when the label says 0. Small amounts per slice can add up if eaten often, pushing cholesterol in the wrong direction and fueling arterial inflammation. I once worked with a man in his late 60s who had chronic kidney disease. He believed cheese slices were a healthy calcium source and ate several daily. Over time, his kidney function declined more rapidly. After switching to natural cheeses, his lab results stabilized and he felt much better. That's why I often remind my older patients, these slices may be convenient, but the hidden salt, additives, and fats make them far more harmful than they appear, especially after 60. Number 3. Cheese spreads in jars are often marketed as creamy, convenient, and versatile, but what's inside those jars is a very different story. Unlike traditional cheeses made from milk, salt, and cultures, these spreads are typically a mix of dairy byproducts, starches, and partially hydrogenated oils. Those oils are a major concern because they're one of the main sources of artificial trans fats, the kind of fat strongly linked to heart disease and systemic inflammation. Even when the label says trans fat-free, the oils may have been altered through other chemical processes that can be just as disruptive to metabolism. Another hidden danger is the use of MSG and other flavor enhancers disguised under names like yeast extract or natural flavor. While they make the spread taste more like real cheese, they can overstimulate the nervous system in sensitive people, triggering headaches, palpitations, or digestive upset. Combined with the very high sodium content, often more than 500 milligrams in just a couple of spoonfuls, these spreads can quickly drive up blood pressure and cause fluid retention, especially in older adults with weaker kidneys or existing cardiovascular disease. And then there's the issue of packaging. Many jarred cheese spreads are stored in plastic containers that can leach phthalates, chemicals known to interfere with hormones. Over time, this exposure may disrupt estrogen and testosterone balance, and I've seen this play out in my own patients. Women after menopause, already facing natural hormonal shifts, are particularly vulnerable. Several of my female patients who regularly consumed jarred cheese spreads struggled with stubborn weight gain, mood swings, and symptoms of estrogen imbalance. When they removed these spreads from their diet, some of these issues began to ease. From a medical standpoint, the combination of unhealthy fats, chemical additives, and hormone-disrupting compounds makes cheese spreads one of the least advisable choices for people over 60. What feels like a quick snack or an easy addition to crackers often comes with long-term costs, affecting not only heart health, but also the delicate hormonal balance that is especially important in later life. Number 2. Pre-shredded cheese might look convenient, ready to sprinkle over pasta or melt into a casserole, but it carries risks that many people don't realize. To keep the shreds from clumping, manufacturers coat them with anti-caking agents such as cellulose, potato starch, or other fillers. While these additives aren't toxic in small amounts, they interfere with how the cheese melts and can also coat the digestive tract, reducing the absorption of valuable nutrients like calcium and protein. For sensitive stomachs, they sometimes cause bloating or discomfort. Another issue is the high level of histamines found in pre-shredded cheese. Because of the extended processing and storage time, histamines build up much more than in block cheese. For people prone to headaches, flushing, skin irritation, or digestive upset, this can be a major trigger. I've seen patients in their 60s and 70s complain of recurring migraines, and after some detective work, we traced the problem back to their daily use of bagged shredded cheese. Once they switched to freshly cut blocks, their symptoms improved noticeably. There's also the risk of contamination. Shredding increases the surface area of the cheese, making it more prone to bacterial growth. Over the years, there have been multiple recalls of pre-shredded cheese due to contamination with Listeria or E. coli, dangers that are especially concerning for older adults whose immune systems may already be weaker. For them, what might cause mild food poisoning in someone younger could lead to serious illness or hospitalization. In my experience, Patients who removed pre-shredded cheese from their diet not only noticed fewer headaches, but also reported feeling less bloated and more energetic. While the convenience is tempting, the trade-off in quality and health makes it a poor choice, especially for those over 60. Freshly cutting or grating cheese at home may take a minute longer, but it offers better flavor, better nutrition, and far fewer health risks. Number 1. Blue cheese is one of the most distinctive cheeses with its sharp flavor and blue-green veins of mold, but those same qualities make it risky for older adults. It's naturally rich in tyramine and histamine, two compounds that can trigger powerful reactions in sensitive individuals. Tyramine, in particular, is known for raising blood pressure by causing blood vessels to constrict. For someone already living with hypertension, even a small serving can cause spikes that increase the risk of headaches, palpitations, or, in extreme cases, a hypertensive crisis. Histamine adds another layer of concern. High levels of histamine can bring on flushing, itching, digestive upset, anxiety, or insomnia, symptoms that are often dismissed but can become persistent problems if blue cheese is eaten regularly. Another overlooked danger is how blue cheese interacts with certain medications. I remember a patient who was taking a MAOI antidepressant and had no idea about the risks of combining it with tyramine-rich foods. After eating blue cheese at a family dinner, he ended up in the emergency room with dangerously high blood pressure. Fortunately, he recovered, but it was a powerful reminder of how food and medicine can collide in ways many people don't expect. For aging adults, especially those on medications for depression, Parkinson's disease, or high blood pressure, this risk is very real. Beyond the medication interactions, the mold cultures in blue cheese produce mycotoxins, compounds that may build up in the body with frequent consumption. While small amounts are generally considered safe, repeated exposure raises concern, especially in people with weaker immune systems. From what I've seen in my practice, patients who cut blue cheese out of their diets often notice clearer thinking, fewer unexplained headaches, and better sleep. While its bold taste appeals to many, the hidden effects on blood pressure, allergy-like reactions, and dangerous drug interactions make it one of the riskiest cheeses for people over 60. For those already juggling health conditions and medications, the risks far outweigh the flavor. When you walk into the grocery store, the most important thing is knowing how to choose cheese wisely. I always tell my patients to look for traditional varieties made from milk and natural cultures, aged over time, rather than heavily processed industrial products. Traditional cheeses don't just taste richer, they also retain more of their original nutrients, contain less added salt, and are free from many of the chemicals that can disrupt gut health. When it comes to portion size, more isn't always better. Many people think that eating a lot of cheese will automatically give them stronger bones, but too much can quickly backfire. For those over 60, about 25–40 grams per day, roughly 1 to 2 thin slices, or a piece the size of your thumb, is just right. That amount provides calcium, protein, and healthy fats without overwhelming the body with excess saturated fat or sodium. Cheese also delivers the most benefits when you pair it properly. A small wedge of cheese rich in vitamin K2 alongside whole grains adds fiber that slows fat absorption. Adding apple or pear slices brings antioxidants that help balance cholesterol. Even a handful of leafy greens can boost calcium absorption, thanks to their magnesium and natural vitamin K. I often remind patients, let cheese be part of the meal, not the main event. That way, it works with your body instead of against it. And one last point. Be cautious with products labeled low-fat. While they sound heart-healthy, many reduced-fat cheeses are bulked up with starches, thickeners, or artificial flavors to make up for what's missing. These additives lower the nutritional quality and can lead to bloating, indigestion, or metabolic issues if eaten regularly. A small portion of real, full-fat cheese is far better for your health than a light version filled with substitutes. So to sum it up, the 4 golden cheeses we discussed can be a key to keeping your bones strong, your heart protected, and your memory sharp. But the 4 harmful cheeses can slowly and silently chip away at your health as you age. Remember this powerful truth. After 60, every food choice you make can determine whether you enjoy a long, healthy life or face years of unnecessary illness. Now I want to hear from you. Would you be willing to give up your favorite cheese if it meant protecting your health? Have you ever noticed how certain cheeses made you feel better or worse? Share your experience in the comments below, because your story might inspire someone else watching this. And of course, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. That way you won't miss any of my science-backed tips, and together, we can keep building healthier, stronger years ahead.